Motivated Monday to all. Let's talk about what is actually going on in the market. So we are getting a little bit of rebound. Bitcoin here at 114,000. As I was making this video, it was around 113,000. So the price of BTC is rising, but also the Bitcoin dominance is rising. So this is going to be important to see if Ethereum can hold the 4,000 mark. It's really important that Ethereum holds that mark because it kind of like is the first mover of the altcoin. So we would love to see ETH hold 4,000 in despite the Bitcoin dominance starting to creep up. I know y'all guy, what's his name? Ben Cowan's been talking about he believes that the Bitcoin dominance could be creeping back up. And that may be true, excuse me. That may be true. But at the end of the day, according to our indicator, the Bitcoin dominance is below this orange line. In my opinion, that's bullish, right? It's also below these moving averages, and the moving averages are trending to the downside. On the flip side, you're starting to see the others dominance trend to the upside while being above our indicator, this orange line, the ultimate RSI. These are weekly time frames, so weekly time frames do take time to play out. So I still do believe that the altcoins narrative is strong. Is it altcoin season? Hey, maybe not, but we're taking a step in the right direction. If you act accordingly, depicted upon what narrative or niche that you find that may be hot, you may find opportunity inside the altcoin market. Now, you probably noticed in my tone, I'm not really too excited just yet, because as long as Bitcoin is below this orange line on our ultimate RSI weekly time frame, I expect crypto risk assets, right? Crypto specifically to struggle, right? Because Bitcoin is the big dog, right? And if Bitcoin is chopping, there's a good chance that you will see chop with the altcoins. And we're going to talk about what to expect from the macro. Make sure that you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and keep your favorite crypto and door-to-door entrepreneur inside the algorithm. So we're below this orange line. Nothing changes, right? We need to get back above this and confidently stay above it, printing confirmation momentum above that orange line. As we can hold this 21-day EMA, that could be bullish. But if you start to see a lot of liquidity roll back into Bitcoin, the Bitcoin dominance could go up, and that could halt altcoins just a bit, which is bullish because we are historically entering the best part of the seasonality aspect of each cycle, which is Q4, specifically October, aka Pumptober. So as I'm looking at this, I know a lot of people, want to say, well, Millie, we're back at 114. We should be bullish, guys. We're not going to ignore the signs here, right? We still have a huge week ahead of us with the macro. President Trump keeps posting bearish ass shit. He keep talking about these tariffs, right? That's bearish, right? Because that can affect the market's volatility. We also have a CME gap right around 110,000. That's something also to look for. So that makes sense when you look at the fact that we are below the orange line on ultimate RSI and staring at a CME gap at about 110. As long as we can hold 112,000, which means we print a candle at the end of the week above 112,000, according to our indicators, technically we are still bullish. It is important to note that if you look at the CBBI historical chart, this is the Bitcoin bull run index created by Colin Talks Crypto and OG in the market. I love this chart. We haven't broken any of the top signals this entire time in the cycle. In fact, most of this cycle has been driven by institutional money. So many would argue that we haven't really seen FOMO yet. A lot of everything that's being built as far as laws, as far as, these new perp dexes and Coinbase wanting to drop a token and Poly Markets wanting to drop a token. I said this before and I'm going to say it again. I don't think these big, huge, solidified companies in crypto are planning to drop crypto coins if we are about to enter a bear market. That just makes absolutely no sense, right? Especially from what we have seen in the history of dropping coins. It's really, if you got a really, really good project, a really, really good idea, it's hard to drop a coin if the market is bearish because it lacks liquidity. Yes, you can keep building, But you want that liquidity. You want to drop in an arena, in an environment where it's thriving with euphoria and thriving with liquidity, because your project is more likely to be successful. So until we enter in an environment, an arena where we are seeing that type of euphoria, I would argue that we haven't had that lucrative part of the cycle yet. And it's kind of confirmed here when you look at the CBBI historical chart and how we haven't broken any of the top indicators. You can see here 2014, I don't really want to count that. Bitcoin was still early. 2017, you can see we clearly broke all of the top indicators. 2020, we clearly broke all of the top indicators. We have yet to even tap or go above slightly any of the top indicators for Bitcoin, which tells me Bitcoin could still go higher, which tells me there is still a possibility of a altcoin season. Now, let's talk about what to expect this week in the crypto and macro update created by yours truly, Crypto Millie. We are seeing some bullish signals, which is, getting back above 112,000 for Bitcoin. There's bearish signals as well. Let's talk about the risk. There's been 300 billion plus value erased in last week. This is highlighting volatility. When you see shorts and longs being liquidated, either or, whoever party you're part of, that's volatility, which means there's risk, which means people don't know where the market may go. We've seen 4.8 billion in liquidations, mostly longs, 903 million in ETF outflows, specifically Ethereum, which was getting a lot of inflows, had a week that had a lot of outflows. BTC accumulation weakening. ETH ETFs seeing continuous outflows. Just talked about that. BTC ETFs ended 4-week inflow streak. So inflation is institutions are starting to dump on our heads. Sticky inflation limiting Fed cuts. 66% chance of a government shutdown risk by Wednesday. Pay attention to that. Friday is also a huge day, guys, because we have non-payroll, which is expected around 39,000, right? Friday's NFP non-payroll is the big one, expected 39 jobs. Could move significantly. Strong data boosts risk assets, but may reduce Fed cut expectations. Weak data could trigger safety inflows. Watch Wednesday's ADP 40K expected as a preview. Government shutdown talks midweek could spike volatility. Overall, packed week with potential for market moves. Guys, you can see what we got to expect this week. Of course, today, home sales I think the Fed talks today. Tuesday, we got consumer confidence, JOLTS job openings. Wednesday, ADP and employment, construction spending, ISM manufacturing. Thursday, jobless claims, factory orders. Friday, non-farm payrolls. This is the big one right here. Unemployment rate. These are the big ones in the ISM services PMI. So with that being said, you know what I mean? There's been a lot of hype about Pumptober, but let's separate the fact from the fiction. October is historically Bitcoin's best month, 20 to 30% average gains in bull cycles. Reality check here. Past performance do not equal future results. While October has been strong historically, we're coming off 300 billion wipeout from 4.8 billion in liquidations. I've had people, specifically in the council, salute to my boy Crypto Mike, which has kind of like been a little bit weary of a potential altcoin season, because he truly believes that retail just doesn't have the liquidity to play in this type of market, which is fair, because if we go here to the retail indicator, you can see that we're almost at lows here for the year for interest in crypto, yet we've been seeing institutionals buy, right? What do we know? We're following the smart money. Do I think institutions are just going to buy up all this crypto just to lose all in everybody's money, ETFs and stuff like that? We've seen vehicles being open for people to buy into crypto without having to use exchanges, because guess what? These older people don't know how to use the exchange. They don't know how to buy this. So these ETFs offer a window of opportunity and vehicle to onboard boomer money, right? Pension money, retirement money, right? And we have been seeing that. So I would argue that I just don't think that these quants, these smart people, these high IQ people would be making these type of moves if they don't think that money could be made, right? If Bitcoin holds 112 through NFP, we get risk on confirmation. Retail FOMO plus short covering could drive the rally, but it's set up dependent and not guaranteed. Guys, the hidden risk, because we got to talk about the risk here. We're at about 114 now, but that's only 1.6% above critical report. One bad NFP print Friday, instant 105% could be, could send us back to 105,000, right? Over leveraged system, 75 million in shorts liquidated in 1 hour shows market is here triggered sensitive. Next move could cascade violent either direction. Fed put is dead. December rate expectations went from 3.2% in April to 3.7% now. Market thought we get aggressive rates, which we thought, but we're not, right? The repricing hurts risk assets. Trump feels like Powell is late. A lot of, SEC, Scott feels like he should have did a 0.5, maybe a 0.100, right? But we got 30 days until the next FOMC meeting. You can see we got an 89% chance of an ease, right? And then, of course, the government shutdown. We'll pay attention to the VIX. ETH is bleeding. Continuous ETF outflows, 7-day underperformance suggests institutional preference shifting. ETH BTC ratio breaking down, could be bearish for altcoins, right? We still have catalysts here, right? ETFs with Solana and XRP, even Doge. September dump could equal a Q4 altcoin season explosion. History shows Bitcoin dumps followed by sideways consolidation often precede explosion altcoin runs. If Bitcoin stabilizes around 110 to 115K range through October, altcoins could rip, which coincides what we're seeing here from the others dominance. The other dominance is still bullish. So this is important to note. Bitcoin doesn't have to go to 130, 150 for altcoins to rise. All Bitcoin has to do is just stay above 110,000 and slowly have that Bitcoin dominance trickling while that liquidity is rotating back into altcoins, opening up opportunities within the hottest narratives and strongest altcoins available. So we'll pay attention to the others' dominance. And as long as this continues to go up and is above this orange line, this is bullish for altcoins. The concern here is that Bitcoin is below the orange line and we do not need Bitcoin to break down. So that's pretty much what I have for you guys. Data checks out. The macro analysis is on point and the risks are properly flagged. But here's what matters the most. We're in a knife edge moment. The market is giving us a bounce, but it's testing us with maximum uncertainty, shutdown risk, Fed pivot doubts, whale accumulations. Let me know in the comments. Do you think that the government will shut down? What's all this hoop-rah with the tariffs that Trump has been tweeting about? And how do you feel about Pumptober? Will we truly pump in October, or is this a huge fake out and possibly a prove it or die type of situation with crypto? I'll be continuing to monitor the market, guys. Let me know how you feel about this chance at a bullish Q4. Are you bullish going into October in Q4, or are you bearish? Do you think the top is in? I would like to know everybody's opinion. It's your boy Crypto Millie. I'll see you in the next one.